Hey guys, I'm Kashi. I'm 20 years old, and at the age of 19, I somehow ended up making 40k a month. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire journey from me dropping out of university, having absolutely $0 in my bank account, all the way to traveling the world, giving back to my family, and making 40k a month. And honestly, the reason I wanted to make this video is to give back to the younger Kashi 2 years ago for two reasons. One, to show that it's actually possible to change your life completely in a couple of years if you put your mind to it. And the second reason is to show that this is the raw reality of what it actually takes to build wealth. And so yeah, let's get into it. I guess for me, my journey, it started exactly 2 years ago, July 2023. Now for me personally, that was like a crossroad year for me. And out of all the months in 2023, that was definitely by far my lowest. Picture this. I just quit my door-to-door sales job that I'd done for months. I slapped the resignation letter on the desk. I was thinking of dropping out of university and I didn't want to continue doing a degree that I hated. And I had a little bit of money saved up from my door-to-door days that could maybe last me for the next couple of months. And like every other night, young hustler, 18-year-old me, I was scrolling on YouTube, watching all the gurus and all these people make money online, travel the world, basically live the lifestyle that I've always wanted to live. And then I came across a guy called Connor. And he mentioned something called high ticket sales. Now at the time, I had no clue what high ticket sales was. In my head, I'm thinking scam, pyramid scheme. This is going to be like another one of those drop shipping or affiliate marketing things that just don't work. But then I kept watching through the videos. I don't know, something just made me feel like I need to keep watching this guy. And it just sounded authentic. It sounded legit for once. And I ended up booking a call with him for the next morning. And I went to bed that night thinking, you know what, what's the worst that can happen? So I wake up the next morning, pretty early for me. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. I hop on this Zoom meeting, ready to go, like still a little bit sleepy. And he walks me through the entire process, how it works, A to Z. And it makes sense. But throughout the entire call, in my mind, I'm thinking, when is this guy going to drop the price? Or this is going to be expensive, or I can't do this. I'm basically saying no to myself before he's even walked me through what the investment is. And yeah, eventually he does drop the ball and he goes, the investment for the program is $3,000. For me, $3,000 was literally my entire savings at the time, life savings that I had. And imagine an 18-year-old that's worked months knocking door to door, 12 hours a day. He literally has exactly almost $3,000 in his bank account. And now a stranger's asking him to pay $3,000 online that he's never met before. The first thing that came into my mind was, I'm not doing this. I'm going to think about it. This has to be a scam. Now, thankfully, that didn't happen. And my mentor told me something that honestly, it obviously changed my perspective at the time, but it stuck with me all these years. He basically said, Kashi, what's riskier? Is it riskier to stay where you are, do the same thing over and over and over again, but expect a different result? Or is it riskier to invest in yourself? Like feel the squeeze for a moment, but potentially change the rest of your life. Like what's riskier, doing nothing or doing something? Now, don't get me wrong, I was still very nervous, but a little light bulb went in my head and I thought, you know what? I live with my parents. I'm young. What's the worst that can happen? If this doesn't work out, I am still screwed, but at least I gave it a shot. And after a lot of convincing, a lot of reassuring, I pulled the trigger. I'd just given my life savings away to someone online and just hoped for the best. Now, looking back now at where I am today, that was one of the best decisions I ever made, obviously, and I'm forever, forever grateful. Shout out to my mentor for actually pushing me to invest in myself because I never would have done it by myself. So I put my whole life savings into a mentorship program. Now I have to make it work. Like there's no alternative. So I spend the next couple of days just watching through the videos, following the steps, working as hard as I can on it. And within the next 2 days, I actually land my first sales cold calling gig. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with cold calling is basically where you get a list of strangers, you call every one of them up, and you pitch your product and service and hope that they buy. And for anyone that hasn't been in it, it was brutal. When I say brutal, like I was just dialing, getting hung up on for hours and hours a day in this room, right? And the biggest takeaway I had from those days was you have to be uncomfortable and be very comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you have to face rejection, and that just has to be something that's normal. That's the biggest thing I learned in those cold calling days. And in the first month of my high ticket sales journey, I made a grand total of $600. Now, for a lot of you, like, $600, what is that? That's not a lot of money. At the time, the fact that I was able to make $600 online at home without having to work for a boss, that just blew my mind. And for me, that was what added fuel to the fire. Just knowing that I could make that money online, I thought, okay, I can make $600. How do I double that? How do I triple that? How do I 10x that? And it gave me all the motivation I needed to continue with this. Now, here's the thing. Cold calling was not going to get me to 10K a month. I was dialing 12 hours a day. Even let's say I didn't sleep and I dialed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I wasn't going to make more than $1,000 a month. So I had to find a new opportunity to make it work. And what I did was I looked for new opportunities, and eventually I landed my first ever closing role. Now for me, this is what changed my life, for me to go from $700 a month all the way to October, where I hit my first 7K a month. For context, 7K was double the income I was making door to door, knocking on people's houses, with half the amount of hours at home, at my desk, right here, without working for a boss. And making 7K a month, that was such a big milestone for me that me and my mentor, we actually filmed an entire case study on YouTube. And I think it's still out there somewhere, so I'll see if I can find the link and I'll send it to you guys so you can watch it later. So yeah, I was making 7K a month, but deep within me, the young 15, 16-year-old Kashi, I always used to idolize 10K a month, 10K a month. For me, that was what financial freedom looked like at the time. And I realized the biggest thing that's stopping me from hitting 10K a month was my sales skill set. So for the next couple months, all I did was sales call reviews. I'd stay up all night listening to my calls over and over again. When I was at the gym, I'd listen to my calls and look at feedback. I would send my calls to my mentor and get it reviewed as well. And an embarrassing story, which I haven't really shared anywhere else, is I would bring my sales calls. Imagine this, right? I'm a beginner. I have very limited experience with sales, and I would be put in a group call with 10 to 20 sales pros, savants, that would just grill my sales call and give me feedback after feedback after feedback, some which were really harsh that took a hit to my ego. But honestly, looking back, I just had this student mentality and I didn't let it affect me, and that is what helped me improve drastically in my sales skills. And believe it or not, within the next couple of months, December 2023, so exactly 6 months into my online journey, I hit the coveted milestone of 10K a month. In fact, I hit 12,000. And that was the very first YouTube video that I filmed on this channel, which you guys can go back and check. And honestly, when I hit that 10K a month, for me, it's like I was wearing a weighted vest all this time, and then the weighted vest just fell off. I just felt like this sigh of relief that I made it. I proved to myself that I can actually make 5 figures a month online. And I think a lot of you would want to know like what it actually feels like to make 10K a month online at such a young age. I was 18 at the time. One of my favorite games that I played growing up, and you guys might be familiar with that as well, is GTA, right? So imagine like the GTA map, like some of it is locked and you're like stuck in this one place. For me, that was Australia. As soon as I hit 10K a month, all the other things just got unlocked. 10K a month was like the key to unlocking all these other doors, and I had all these possibilities. And as any other 18-year-old kid would do, me and 3 other boys that I'd made friends with in the space booked a one-way ticket straight to Thailand. Picture this. I'm 18, I make 10K a month, which is like top 1% of my age bracket. I'm able to travel to a country like Asia where the cost of living is low and quality of life is high. I'm partying with all my best mates. I'm partying all night while all my other friends in Perth are in university studying for exams. I felt like a king. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like an absolute king, and I got very, very comfortable. And I spent the next couple of months just traveling, partying, making 10K a month, and just honestly having a blast. Because for 6 months of my online journey, all I've done is sit in this room and not step outside and just grind to get to 10K a month. So I felt like I needed to enjoy a little bit. However, this is why having a mentor is so important. A couple months in of me getting very comfortable, I had a call with my mentor, and I'll never forget this call. Towards the end of it, he said, "Can I be brutally honest with you, Kashi?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, like tell me." And I was expecting him to say something crazy. And he goes, "I think you're just too comfortable. Like, you're doing well for your age, but I think you can do so much better. And for you, like, you need to snap out of it. You need to lock in. You have to realize that there's so much more to life than just 10K a month." And that's when it really clicked for me that 10K a month was good for myself. I could travel to like Southeast Asia and live a good life comfortably. But what if I made 30K a month? What if I made 40K a month? Then I'd be able to support myself, save for the future, my family, and also go do what I did in Southeast Asia in a country like Dubai or a country like, Europe. So after that moment of realization, I flew straight back to Perth, one-way ticket, and I went right back to this room where I locked in, and I decided I am not leaving Perth until I hit 40K a month. I had that in my mind. And so for the next month, all I did was core reviews, messaging people. When I woke up, all I thought about was sales. When I slept, all I thought about was sales. And in my mind, I just had this goal of 40K a month, 40K a month. And within 2 months, so 11 months into my sales journey, it was in June, I hit my first 23K a month. And I've also filmed a video of this on my YouTube channel, which you can go check out and watch to look at the feelings I was experiencing at the time. And exactly 1 month later, it's crazy how fast my journey went. Exactly 1 month later in July, I hit $40,000 in a month. Now, a lot of you guys watching might wonder what it feels like to make 40K a month at 19. And I'm just thinking back, 40K a month, what it allowed me to do is just have full financial freedom. So what I mean by that is I could just go and buy things and not really think about it within reason. Like, I'm not going to go buy a mega yacht, right? I can't afford that. But I could go and buy a new laptop. I could go and buy a new phone. I could go and, give money to my parents, or I could go and Uber Eats every single day. Like, I didn't have to think about all these little expenses anymore. And the biggest thing that came with 40K a month was full location freedom. So I was no longer a 10K a month 18-year-old that could only go to Southeast Asia and have a blast. I actually went to Dubai, right? I'm going to America very soon. I was able to travel all around Australia. So for me, the biggest thing that 40K a month did was location freedom as well. Just the ability to fly whenever I want. And a big thing as well was giving back to my family. So the first thing I did as soon as I hit 40K a month was I took my whole family on a trip to Bali, fully paid for, and just having the ability to tell my parents that it's cool. Don't look at the budget, just go and buy whatever you want. Like, that feeling, it would just never go away, to be honest. And if I just reflect back and think, what was the main reason that got me from 0 to 40K a month in under a year? Honestly, it'll be the very first story I shared with you when I started this video. Because I owe a big thanks to the 18-year-old version of Kashi who took a bet on himself and emptied his bank account to find a proper mentor to support him through his whole sales journey. Like, that's honestly the reason why I got there that fast, is because I had a mentor before I even started in the space. And looking back at my journey, I realized that I was very alone. Like, the people who started off in sales were still stuck at 5K a month or 10K a month or making $0. And the reason I know this is true is because of my students. So I'll give you an example. A very close friend of mine and student of mine, Adrian, and I'll tell you a story. He started off as a young dad who was working a 9 to 5, and he wanted to find a way to have location freedom so he can spend time with his family and just be free. But for context, me and Adrian, we started high ticket sales at the exact same time, July 2023. However, I invested in a proper mentor before I got into sales, and Adrian didn't invest into a mentor at all. So while I went from 0 to 40K a month, Adrian was still stuck in the same place for years. And very recently, a couple months ago in March, I actually helped him one-on-one and taught him how to network, taught him how to find roles, taught him how to actually learn sales. And he went from 0 to 20K a month in literally a couple of months, right? And the reason he was able to do that is because he had someone like me who's already done it, teaching him the ropes. Yeah. And honestly, if any of this resonated with you and you're in a position of life where you want to get into an online business, you want freedom, you don't want to subscribe to the typical 9 to 5 rat race, and you want location freedom, feel free to hit me up. What I'll do is I'll leave a link in my IG in the description. I'd love to be able to see if I can help you out. Just DM me and I'll see if you're a right fit. But yeah, that's the video, guys. Other than that, have a great day. Keep grinding. Peace.